Next up from the USA is Annette Michelson riding her 5-year-old. What?
I said, hello, fans.
Anyway, riding her 5-year-old Appaloosa Hanoverian cross. And as you can see, first part of the test is poop at A, or poop at C. She's riding a Winston, who's named after that famous statesman from Great Britain, Winston Churchill, the old soul. In this test, Winston looks a little nervous. He hasn't really been ridden for 3 months, so that might have some bearing on his scores from the judges. But here at the walk, he seems to be scoring up in the fours. As you can see, the stands aren't quite filled today in the initial preliminary rounds of this dressage test. In fact, I don't see anybody in the stands today. But that's okay. I think this evening, if she makes the finals, will be quite a crowd here on hand with the goats and the donkeys and the dogs and the chickens. You can see these lateral movements and a little bit of a leg yield, which is part of the test. Oh, it was. Excuse me. I'm new at this. Stefan, can you step in here, please, and give me some advice on what she did? A pirouette. Okay, she just did a pirouette. There she did her stop. I think she forgot to back up. I just feel Winston is so hyped up with the crowd, and here we do have somebody who had disappeared, a late arrival from the stands. There, right there under the chair, is Passage, which is appropriate for the test that Winston's doing. Okay, back to Winston. He looks a little nervous. I think he might just break into a canter here at any second. He's showing really good form at the walk. And we'll step away for a minute, take a commercial break, and we'll be right back, folks. Okay, we're back live here again at the Aspen Meadows outdoor dressage facility. And this is Annette Michelson still riding Winston. This is one of the longer dressage tests of the day, you'll find. Yeah, most tests will run 5, 6, 7 minutes, but I expect this one may go as long as 20 minutes, 25 minutes. You can see the USA flag is represented here strongly. And you notice how deep in the corner she went. You know, his head comes up a little high sometimes, but I think that'll be a minor deduction. And you notice too, Ned is a big proponent of helmets. One of the few dressage riders in this Olympics that's actually wearing a helmet. It's not probably the appropriate color, but nevertheless she's wearing the helmet, which we all consider a good thing. I think also, nobody told her, but maybe it was my fault when she was tacking up Winston, but his leg wraps are still on. So that again will be another deduction, or maybe even a disqualification, depending how the judges view this. That position as she goes down the rail. Yes, and there's Winston waving his tail to the crowd and popping his head up, acknowledging the crowd, which is I'm sure he'll get extra points for that. As he crosses midline here, he's focused on the American flag, understanding what his job is today. I think he paused to take a quick breather, which is allowed in these in this basic test. You're allowed 2 10-second breathers, and that's due to the fact that the test is so long. Now, did you see that turn? I'm sure she scored a 10 on that. Another one. She's just racking up 10s right and left here, folks. If she continues this rapid pace, I'm sure her score is going to be up there to move the U.S. up into the top 2 or 3 spots, I would imagine. Not bad from where they sit right now, currently at 8th overall. And now she's throwing everything out now on the trot. You know, you need to keep in mind, I'm sure the judges are too, that this is actually his first trot work with a rider on his back in probably 3 months. So he's doing exceptionally well. Oh, and he breaks into a canter. And that was planned. That wasn't just on his own. That was planned, so very good transition on Winston's part. And he seems to be happy. A little concerned about the fence. I think, you know, he wants to jump. I mean, going back to the history of Winston, you know, he was basically started out training as a jumper, and that's never left his blood. So there are times when he gets excited, which is good in the inventing phase. You know, he can do both, dressage and jumping. So in fact, and that's just misqualifying with that eventing team. I placing 4th and didn't quite make it, but I think 2016 there's a good shot at her being in that too. And with Winston's maturity at that point, this should be a factor to for the riders to deal with in other countries. You can see that suspension, which sort of looks like the suspension on my 1966 Ford Falcon station wagon. But it was a good ride, as is Winston. Today we've had sort of a mixture of weather here in Aspen Meadows. It started out sunny and not too warm, but we've gotten some increasing high clouds, and though there's no forecast for rain, at least in the near future, it has caused a little bit of humidity, which is affecting both rider and horse. Part of the test, you see, is giggling too. You know, judges like that. They like animation. And I'm sure she'll score high points on that. And the clipping of the fence with the boot, I don't know if folks on TV could pick that up, or hear it, but it was it's all part of the plan in this test. You get extra points if you don't take out a fence post. And at the rate that's going, this test may just go into Sunday also. I mean, it could be a 2-day test. And I'm sure one of these days she'll come to a halt, just so we can get it on film. But here she comes. She's coming down center line now. Well, sort of down center line. This is what we call third line. It's a third of the court. You'll notice how she takes those corners. Maybe not quite as deep as would be anticipated, but then again, very nice. Very nice. A little history on Annette. She began riding bareback at a very young age, 10 or 11 on neighbors' horses down the street. And this is where she picked up her basic dressage skills at that point in time. She had a break there during later years of high school and college. Did you notice that the commentator, she just rode by and said I was a good boy, and I appreciate that too. Though I'm not a judge who won't score any extra points. But anyway, going back to Annette's story, she didn't fully develop into a world-class dressage rider until her early 40s, and now she's ranked up there amongst the very elite of the world, and probably, without a doubt, the best dressage rider in Rancho Capistrano, which is a lot to say in itself. Anyway, we're taking another little 10-second break here, which they're allowed again, and while we're doing that, I think we'll step away for another commercial brought to you by Kellogg's.